What's going on, everyone? I'm here with gMd from GenG, the longest standing GenG member. How long have you been with GenG now? It's been like,
A year and a half, I think. Yeah, a year and a half. I've been there since March of 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, that is wild. I mean, it takes me back to I remember watching you guys win like the 5K Pulse Series tournament.
I think it was pretty much the best tournament like experience I've had. Like it was fun. We had a couple. I remember having a comeback against Sentinels. Like we were losing 9-3 in semifinals or something. And I remember having a speech. Like it was a 5K tournament. I had the biggest speech ever. And then we ended up winning. It was actually a pretty cool experience for real. It was probably the best one we've had.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, I wanted to ask because now, as of recently, Mikhail is no longer with the team. You have Temperature in, but you're the last. I mean, the team started originally with all French Canadians, and you were the last remaining Canadian, period, on the team. And so I just wanted to ask, like, what was it like playing Valorant back then with that team, and what's it like playing in the Valorant landscape now?
It's actually crazy. Obviously, it was five Frenchies, but also five of my friends. Like I've played with them for a long time. I was actually. I remember when we lost Effie's the first time. It was actually kind of sad. He was such a good teammate, and I'm glad he's doing good right now on version 1. Very cool guy. But it was definitely like I'm not saying that it doesn't feel like a family here. Like I'm very tight with my teammates, but it was something else. Like it was actually a dream. Like playing with five friends, making money, making a dream come true. And also we had like very good. As I said, the Pulse Invitational. We've had the T1 Invitational, the first one when we got signed, we won the first tournament. We were with GenG, probably the best experience as well. It was a very, I think we took it for granted at some point, like because when we got signed, it was actually like everyone was. I remember being in TeamSpeak, everyone was so happy. We had like a bunch of friends in the TeamSpeak, everyone was cheering for us. It was a different. It was still a job, but it was actually like very. I don't know, the dream. Like obviously, I'm living the dream right now, but with five friends, it was actually mind blowing. We definitely took it for granted. We were definitely working harder than anybody else because we knew that we didn't have the raw skill from when you were looking at like teams like Sentinels who had like the best players from every game. So we worked way harder than anybody else. We did 2 to 11 for like every day for almost like I remember having like a month where we didn't take a break, like for 2 to 11 every day. We've had girlfriends back then as well. That was a very long run, but it paid off, and we were one of the best teams for a short time. But it was fun when it lasted with five. But it's definitely different. Like I love our team. I feel like we're definitely better right now. It feels like we actually improve a lot more. Like because it's hard to keep practice efficient when you're five friends. Like obviously it was definitely less efficient. Now with two-stack calling, it feels more of a like. It feels more professional. I feel like we improve a lot more. Our new coach as well, Chris Almapadi, is awesome. Has been very helpful so far. But she's not here with us for this tournament. But yeah, it's very different. Completely different like scenarios and like realities. To be honest, like it's just it feels like a new game because when we played with the Frenchies, obviously people were way not worse, but we had like a ton of advance. Like I remember on Avon. We're one of the best, like one of the few teams that were playing a retake. Like we won the T1 Invitational. I think we played the city side, probably 12 rounds that we played retake on it. And just like since you had such a heads up that nobody could catch on, like nobody could catch on early on, obviously. With T1 having like T1 had way better players than us. Like they had ACK, Brax. I remember like Elise as well was owning. So it was just actually teamwork. It's probably the first time in my life that I felt like we outworked our opponents. So it's actually. I said very different realities, but I'm enjoying both.
Yeah, for sure. I mean that's even. I remember back then. I felt like I was always. I don't know. Like your team didn't have the biggest names compared to the other teams. Like they had the players with more brand influence and followers and that kind of thing. And I would always try and. I always enjoyed watching your team because early on you were one of the more competent teams in regards to the team play, and that was just so cool to watch that early into the game. But yeah, now I mean, temperature has just come in for Mikhail, so I did want to talk through that move a bit. I mean, I know temperature was he was putting up really good numbers on EG. He was really solid there. So I guess what is it about him that caught your eye, or coach team? What made you want to bring temperature in at this point?
I think with the low time we had, we didn't want to go for like I don't want to say a one trick, but we needed someone versatile because Michael played literally every agent for a team. So obviously, I think obviously you don't have that much time. You're working like you have one roster move, you can't mess that up. I think Temperature was like more of the most consistent player that we've seen on like the free market. Well, not free, but like that we could get. Yeah, it was versatile. He could play Sova and Sentinels, which is kind of what we need. So yeah, I think it was mostly his role, and he was a solid player, and we had trust in him for this reason.
For sure. I mean, that one thing you mentioned there is kind of been the hallmark of GenG, I think, this year, is being able to play a lot of roles. I mean, you guys played more roles in like a VO3. Just looking at the VLR page, it's like 3 different people are playing Viper. You were playing so many different roles, and you as well. Just throughout your history, your career so far in Valorant, like you played Duelist for a long time at the beginning. You primarily at this point been playing Smokes, but you've played a number of roles. Could you kind of speak to, I guess, what the reasoning behind that was, and then also how that can affect you as a player mentally? Like, was that too much to handle individually, and for your teammates as well, having to take on so many roles?
Well, I think it was hard at some point. Obviously, you kind of catch teams off guard. Like I remember one BO3, I played like Brimstone, Raze. Like I played like so many different agents, which not only different agents but also different playstyles. Like obviously, I remember early on as well. I remember playing Breach and Raze. It's like different. Like you gotta in the mindset. I felt like early, like if I played Raze for a whole map, I was popping off. Then the other game, like on Breach, I'm trying to take too much fights. I lose early gun rounds because I'm being too aggressive. So it was definitely hard for that. But later on, when we had MC, I think we changed a lot of roles, which kind of paid off at first. I think it paid off because, as I said, catching people off guard, different playstyle. Then you just play the Viper that keeps doing the same thing, and then you play a different Viper, like not even close to being the same playstyle. So I think it helped at some point. But as I said, it plays in your brain as well. Like everyone, let's say when I was looking at Sentinels, you see like Sentinels or Envy, like Crashies plays Sova on every map, or like every time they have a Sova, it's Crashies. But obviously, it's one of the best Sovas for that reason. You have so much experience. You have so much, you know exactly how to answer to every reaction, because you stream like 6 hours a day. You play ranked all day. You always play the same agent. 100%, you're gonna have more. Obviously, have better reactions to things. You've seen multiple scenarios. So I think it was harder to be consistent on different agents. But we had the higher seeding, I think, because when you have a good game on a character that they can't study because you didn't see what they did. So I think our seeding was better with playing different agents. But definitely, it's hard to be consistent when you play like 3 different agents and 3 different roles as well. Like I remember playing Raze on one map, Omen on the other one. It messes up a bit with your play style or your mentality going into that map. I remember like on Split, you run in with satchels on Raze, and then on Omen, I'm like throwing smoke here, flash there. So it's definitely different play styles, but it was fun. It was definitely more. You were more creative with stuff, because when you do the same stuff with the same agent, you kind of get complacent. Where when you change the characters every time, then I got more creative on certain agents. So it helped me in my career for sure. But it's hard to be consistent.
Is that one of the reasons then, as to why you think oftentimes, I think looking back at your runs this year and a lot of the stages, it always looked like you guys were so good, and then slowly as the tournament went on, the struggles began, and then eventually I always felt, at least watching, that you never placed as high in the tournaments for as good as you looked when they began, if that makes sense. Do you think that is the reason why? Because I think something else that has been brought up that you can speak to whether or not this is true is that there's like at times confidence issues within the team as well. But yeah, is that a reason for why you think that some of these stages haven't gone as well as they could have?
I think it's definitely obvious that we have one of the youngest team. Like Sean is 19. I'm like probably the second one with the most experience on my team, and I'm 20. So like I think it speaks for itself. I remember like every time that we lost and we got eliminated, I feel like it was the same day. Like when you lose a match, you have to play the loser again. Yeah. Like I think we looked ultra good against TSM in that last Berlin qualifier. We went into 40 rounds on Split, where I remember like a 1v1 that I've lost. that was the game, that was the series, and that's a whole new. You have more confidence coming in. You don't play the next the next hour, and I just think that it snowballs a bit as a young team, losing rounds like. When we were up 8-4 and 9-3 on these last two maps that we lost, it just shatters your confidence when you're young, and we haven't been in those situations often. Like I remember, I don't want to we're not chokers, but I think we're one of the teams that probably well, I guess that means we're chokers, but just I remember losing a 10-2 half on a set against Sorry Thieves. These things tend to get into your head at some point when it's. I remember at one point I told Andrew, our coach back then, I was like, we have to think about something because we either own people 13-4, so we get 13-4. There was definitely consistent issues in confidence at some point, but now I think people got experience, way more experience. We're definitely stronger as a team. I think last time we lost to Rise. I think we're better than Rise. I think we've looked better than Rise. As I said, we lost to TS. We played 100 rounds against TS and we had no juice. I remember staying at my PC. I'm he peeked me and I didn't react. It was just such a draining day. Go 40 rounds and I played well in the first BO3, and the second one I was just not there helping my team. So I think when we play two BO3s in the same day, kind of gets sketchy. And I remember last time we lost for first track, we lost 2 rounds. We were about to qualify against FaZe. Last BO3 third map we lose 14-12. We had very sad ending to some of the runs. I remember we lost to Complexity in T1 the same day as well. We never lost Complexity ever. We lost, and then we lost to T1 after. Just a lot of things that kind of snowballed into the confidence. But now I think we definitely look the best. I say that every time, every tournament, but I feel like it's true. We look better than ever. So I'm happy to show here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so I think if I remember correctly, the best tournament that you guys have had in 2021 was I guess it was Masters 1 or Challengers Final 1, whatever they consider it, where you came in third place. What was it about that run that you were able to finish it at such a higher placing than in some of the other tournaments? If I remember, I think you beat Envy on the way as well. What was going right then that maybe you haven't been able to replicate since?
I think, I don't know, we all peaked at the same time. I feel like I was playing a very good tournament. Same thing with Sean. Sean had an insane tournament as far as he was very energetic and he was very everyone was hyped up. I remember we had a pretty unlucky draw. We draw Envy in the first place, so we went into lowers right away. But we played well that night, and I remember after in TeamSpeak sitting down and watching rounds with Kenny at the time and be I thought we looked good. I thought we kind of build up that confidence over and it was a loss. It was a loss BO3, but we had so much confidence for no good reason. I think, and we ended up losing to FaZe in semifinals. And I think if we don't get FaZe there, if we don't draw, we had so many issues against FaZe and Immortals back then. If we don't draw a FaZe, I think we go all the way, and I think we were one of the best teams to match up against Sentinels back then. I think we had a good chance, and these teams that Immortals and FaZe were just giving us a rough time. And I think if we draw something else, we didn't draw, but we ended up playing FaZe. I think just confidence was so high up there. And Danny, I remember it was his last tournament. Was it his last tournament with us? It was one of the last tournaments with us, and we peaked at the right time, and we all had confidence. And you can't stop a young team with confidence and stuff. And I think Envy was definitely a match that could have gone both ways, but what can you do? That's Valorant. We did better that day, and we went all the way almost. So.
Yeah, for sure. And heading into this tournament now, your first match, you're playing against 100 Thieves, who they just came off of Berlin and making the big roster move. Between that, with Steel going to the bench, bringing in Boy. Everything we've been talking about, kind of, they're sort of the antithesis of the young team. I mean, people joke about them being the boomer team, but they have the experience, and I think that also that did show at Berlin that mattered and that their experience was huge. It's what brought them to those comebacks. So what is it like right now heading into this tournament, knowing that you're playing 100 Thieves? What's the approach? What are you concerned about? And also, this is we're going to air this pretty much as you guys are right before you go on stage, so they can't watch this. So if you want to speak candidly, they're not going to. You can leak things, and they're not going to know.
Yeah. So I think it's a good draw for us. I think they have the higher seed, but I don't think they're the best team in the tournament right now. Obviously, losing the leadership of Steel and just adding a new player. I think Boy hasn't played ever since Endbox. Like I think it matters, but I definitely think like it's the best. The best thing that can happen for them is it's on LAN, it's on stage, it's gonna matter. I try to compare them to the old TSM team like with Cutler and all these guys. They were not better than they were not like their roster was not better than any of these teams, but they kept pushing through, winning tournaments because experience matters the most, I think. In this game, Valorant, like everyone can shoot their gun. Everyone can shoot their gun. It's about making the decision on the spot. It's 2v2 at 13, at 12, 11. Who's making the right decision? At 30 years old, I hope you made the right decision because you've had time to think about it. And I think that's just how it is. Like experience matters in those scenarios. Like we don't see like insane aimers. I feel like Ye and Tens probably like one of the best aimers in Valorant, but everybody else is just trying to make the right decision and trying to play off each other a bit more. So I think the oddities for us is good because the way we play with the new coach that we had, like Chris, I think we're definitely a team that is more consistent and like we have a more reliable play style where we're gonna make them move on the map. We're not gonna rush stuff and just expect us to win gunfights. So I think that's something. It can go both ways. I think if we have like a good start, I think if you can pace, like you can dictate the pace, then like how the game goes. I think if you're a team that is consistent and that has that type of play style, I think you probably can run with the game. But like I said, I think having Boy moving into no hate to Boy, I think he's a good player, but I don't think you can replace still that easily. And I think, I don't think they're the best team in the tournament. I'm happy with the draw. I'm happy with the bracket we had in the uppers. I think probably the team that for me has looked the scariest is probably C9. C9 has been looking good. They have the lower seed. If I'm version 1, I'm not happy with the draw at all. Like you get a Vanity that called for years. Someone that is very confident in Vanity, and someone that I played with, FEs. I think he's not the most confident person I know. I think he can get into their head. So I'm not happy with their draw. So I think we're happy with the bracket, and we're going to do our best to show that we're happy with that, I guess.
Yeah. Sounds good. I mean, thank you for joining me. That was excellent, and best of luck against 100 Thieves and in the rest of the tournament.